Hello everyone, today I'm going to tell you about this Docking Bay 327 coffee table I built to house my UCS Millennium Falcon. Like most diorama sets, the back wall usually is only decorated on one side. Since this diorama was going to be housed in a coffee table that could be viewed from all sides, it was important to me to do something to the back wall that would be visually appealing. Let me take you through some of the scenes on the back wall. The first scene you'll see here is Luke confronting Vader in the Emperor's throne room. There's also a couple other Easter eggs in there that we'll cover later. Below that is the medical bay, where you can see the provider caring for a couple of injured stormtroopers. And at the bottom you see a bar scene with a lot of characters representing a lot of different genres in LEGO. Next you'll see a game room with a big screen TV and of course several snacks. Next to that is a droid repair area with an officer, an Ugnaught, and a loader droid. And above there is the Death Star conference room with Darth Vader, Tarkin, Yularen, and a little plant I added to spruce up the place. Here are Darth Vader's chambers. He has a medical droid, a Sith holocron, he's in his Bacta tank, he has a meditation chamber, and his R5 droid. Next, we have the gap where Luke and Leia have to swing across to escape the Death Star. Running across the top of the back wall is the Death Star trench run. You can actually see the exhaust port as well as the X-Wing and the TIE fighters that are pursuing it. At the center of the wall is the Death Star tractor beam power generator. You can see Obi-Wan hiding behind the column to avoid detection from the stormtroopers as he turns off the power. To access the right side of the back wall, I slide the plexiglass windows using handles made by little magnets attached on either side. In detention block AA-23, you can see Chewie, Han, Luke, and Leia beginning to plot their escape from the Death Star. In the trench run above, you can see Harry and Malfoy chasing a snitch like they did in the trench of the Quidditch Stadium in Chamber of Secrets. Below the detention block is Trash Compactor 3263827, where you can see the crew hanging out with Oscar the Grouch. Next to that, you can see the Death Star gym with a bench press, some free weights, a kettlebell, treadmill, a barbell, and a punching bag. On the lower floor, you can see the Death Star laser control room with one of my favorite characters, Director Krennic. To the right is my take on the Kyber crystal to Death Star laser conversion process. And finally, to the right of that is the Death Star laser itself, with some Death Star troopers almost about to fall in. You can see the laser exits on the exterior of the Death Star. Now I'll take you through some of the playable features on the back wall. The first scene is the gap that Luke and Leia have to swing across. You can see the door opens up behind them where the stormtroopers are trying to get in. But if you take away Luke and Leia from the situation, and imagine they didn't break the bridge controls, the bridge does actually extend across. When Leia's not hanging out inside her cell, I like to keep Sirius Black in there, sort of like Azkaban. Leia can even blast through the wall of the detention block to access the trash compactor below. All of the figures can access the trash compactor through the chute and exit the trash compactor through the door. I installed a lever on the left to make the wall move forward to simulate the trash compactor in action. Ouch. The Death Star tractor beam power generator has a series of gears behind it to make the beam go up and down to show it going on and off. The boxer in the gym is connected to a lever underneath the floor to make him move in circles as if he's punching the bag. One of my favorite features takes advantage of the negative space inside the shaft that the Emperor falls down in Return of the Jedi. In this space, you'll see Indiana Jones in a temple with a skeleton, a gem, C-3PO's head, and of course some snakes. This scene is from Spider-Man Homecoming, where Ned is building the Lego Death Star. You can even see the Emperor sitting on top. And of course at the bottom, we have Harry Potter's room, just like it would be underneath the stairs in the first book. A switch on the side of Darth Vader's chambers makes his meditation chamber open and close so he can be taken in and out. He can also be taken in and out of the Bacta tank. Here I use the switch again to close the meditation chamber. The scene in the control room can change by swapping out the characters as well as the screen in the background. This side of the table has a lot of Easter eggs. Let's check them out. The first one is Matt, the radar technician, aka Kylo Ren from SNL's Undercover Boss. You can see some stormtroopers playing ping pong on the Millennium Falcon. There's my black cat Obi, who you saw a moment ago. And there's Benny from the Lego Movie. On the floor in front of the Falcon, you can see an Iron Legion suit hiding among the stormtroopers. Over on the right is a droid DJ playing a set for a number of characters standing in front of the speakers below. On the back wall, you can see Moaning Myrtle, Buzz Lightyear, and Star-Lord fighting a probe droid, because why not? Next to them, you can see Snoke forming in a cloning pod. Below him is a Boy Scout troop with the scout leader holding a staff inspired by Darth Maul's double-sided lightsaber. There's even a barrel inspired by a minion. If we swing over to the left, we can see a group of shock troopers getting into some trouble after putting one of their helmets on backwards. And just above them, we can see Iron Man taking on a jump trooper. Hiding under the backside of the Falcon is the classic Spider-Man meme. You can see a little camera fixed to the bottom of the Falcon with some webbing. In the back left corner, we can see some stormtroopers gathered around the water cooler. And just behind them, we can see some of the aliens from Toy Story mesmerized by a claw. Next, we'll jump to the other short end of the table where we can see some of the scenes that were on the back wall wrap around the corner to this side of the table. The first thing I'll point out in the Emperor's throne room is the Mickey Mouse head being carried by the dumb E-robot from Iron Man. There's also a lost Boy Scout who seems pretty terrified about the battle going on in front of him. Next, we'll drop down to the bar scene where we can see Voldemort, Mantis, and Animal playing in a band. There's also a separatist battle droid pouring drinks for everyone. To the left, you can see an officer in an unfortunate mess left by a Corellian hound. There's Tarkin just above them. Beyond Tarkin, you can see some Imperial guards enjoying some ice cream, well, only one of them. There's even E.T. and Elliot riding a bike behind them. A well-hidden Easter egg is 3 officers playing rock, paper, scissors, shoot to see who has to take the hologram call from the Emperor. There's a Death Trooper who took a drink to go from the bar. And in this section, you can see a Kaminoan working on a cloning project using Luke Skywalker's severed hand to make a clone, maybe even Snoke. In the outfitting room, stormtroopers can get fresh gear, including their helmets and their blasters, but there's also an Ant-Man suit in there. Just above, you can see a jukebox where stormtroopers can select the next song to be played at the rave below. On the other side of the door is the control room, where the crew hatches its plan to save the princess en route of their escape from the Death Star. I added a velociraptor to the closet, which probably would have complicated their plans a bit. I also added a viewing window down into the docking bay, where the officer tries to communicate with TK-421, but determines he has a bad transmitter. One of the first Easter eggs I added during this build was my cat Snips chasing a mouse droid. And one of the last Easter eggs I added to this build was a radar dish signed by the first captain of the Millennium Falcon, Lando Calrissian, played by Billy D. Williams. I also added this button that makes this energy core go up and down. I'm not sure why I added that. My favorite Easter egg, however, comes courtesy of my fiancée Daria. She was able to get the windshield of the Millennium Falcon signed by Han Solo himself, Harrison Ford. Lighting and soundboards were installed in both the docking bay and the Falcon and are powered through cords that run through the base of the table. Thanks for your interest in my table. It was a lot of fun making this over the last 3 years. If you'd like to learn more about the building process, you can check me out on Instagram at MetaBricksBeWithYou.